Hey guys, what's up? It's Berlin. Welcome back to my channel. This video today, as you can probably tell from the title, is going to be another video about the whole Jeffree Star allegations situation, because now a lot more has come out about that whole thing. So I've got a lot of screenshots here of DMs and stuff like that. So I've tried to put them all in order and I've gone through them. But before I get to that, this video is really going to be about how Jeffree went on Ryland Adams' podcast. Ryland Adams, of course, was trying to make it so that Jeffree doesn't seem like such a bad person, in my opinion. You know, because of all the scandal that happened this summer with Jeffree, with Shane, we had all of that going on. And Jeffree sat on that podcast and he said, oh, you know, it was quite traumatic for me. It was mental abuse and all of this stuff. But some of the survivors of Jeffree Star's alleged sexual assault claims are speaking out now, and they've got quite a bit to say. One of the people is called Gage Arthur. He's somebody who allegedly took the £10,000 in hush money and retracted his statements that he gave to Insider. So he's been paid off. He's been told to shut up, allegedly. And he's got some things to say about the check he received and everything like that. The other person is Chris Avery Bennett. So Chris Avery Bennett is the alleged survivor who didn't take 10 grand from Jeffree Star to stay silent. Chris Avery Bennett is now coming on Twitter, posting receipts, also has been in touch with me personally. So I've got permission to talk about all this in videos and everything like that. So I'm going to get into some of these DMs because honestly, it's quite shocking. Jeffree Star has now been accused of not only performing a sexual assault on a minor, but filming it too. This is the thing that is now starting to shock people. And I'm not going to present any of this in this video as fact. I just want to say that before I go any further. I'm not presenting any of this as fact. What I've got is directly from Chris Avery Bennett, an alleged survivor of Jeffree Star, somebody who was there at the time. So I'm going to present the DMs that I've got. I'm going to read all through them and you guys can be the judge. But I want to say that this situation is still ongoing as well. So there might still be quite a bit more to come out on it. But it's messy and it's quite dark and it's, you know, it's difficult. But I'm going to present the DMs and you guys can make your own minds up. But this is the situation as has been presented to me. So let's get into the video. Ashley Lilly, who is an alleged survivor of Dovey Vanity, has put out this tweet that says, "Us, can you please acknowledge the sexual assault allegations? You paid $10,000 to silence and your sneaky behaviour at Jeffree Star." Then included a picture of Jeffree Star's most recent video, which was him swatching all of his velour liquid lipsticks and promoting his winter mystery boxes. Now we're going to move on to some messages between Gage Arthur, who is somebody that is also an alleged survivor of Jeffree Star. Now, this is a conversation had between Gage Arthur, Chris Avery Bennett and Kat Tembarge at some points as well, who wrote the Insider article. So we'll start from the part where Gage says, "Have you heard of Jeffree having cameras in his room?" Now remember that Gage is of course an alleged survivor from Jeffree Star, an alleged sexual assault survivor. So this is the conversation. These are the receipts that are out there on Twitter. So I'm just going to read them to you. I hope they're all in order. I'm going to go through them and we'll see exactly what it is that's being said. So Gage said, "Have you heard of Jeffree having cameras in his room?" The person responded and said, "I actually have." Now, I assume that is Chris Avery Bennett. Gage then says, "I never told anyone about what happened. People started telling me, saying they'd seen it. Jeffree was sending it around back in the day." So that's referring to a video of Jeffree Star and Gage Arthur. Now, of course, this is alleged. I've only got these receipts to go on. But Gage is alleging that Jeffree Star has filmed him and Jeffree Star together. Then from there, we move on to the alleged $10,000 hush money payout that Gage allegedly received from Jeffree Star. Here Gage says the check didn't come from him, it come from his company, meaning Jeffree Star Cosmetics. They're the ones that got attorneys, that's why he got his brand back. I knew I had something to do with him losing it in the first place. He goes on to say the check was in his CFO's name. So the check was allegedly from Jeffree Star Cosmetics and not personally from Jeffree Star himself. This is all really fishy. I don't know if it is 100% fact, but as I said, these are the receipts that we've got to go on so far. Gage then continues to say, yeah, he doesn't care, meaning Jeffree Star. I messaged them, letting them know this all didn't seem fair to me and I'm stressed and they feel like it's all settled. Meaning they feel like they've paid Gage off and that's the end of the situation. Gage then goes on to say, like it's his choice how I feel, or like I'd care about that shit. Off the record, don't expose or shame a victim, you know? But that's fucked up, right? Then here's where Kat Tenbarge, the woman who wrote the Insider article about Jeffree Star and these alleged sexual assault allegations, that's where Kat Tenbarge comes in. She responds with, of course, he does not care. He didn't even reply to the story, meaning her Insider article, let alone care about the victims of his. Gage has then responded with, his attorneys had me send you the message too, meaning the message that he would be retracting his statement about Jeffree Star and what happened between them in the past. This is, of course, because Gage Arthur was told to retract his statements, paid off with that $10,000 payment, and Jeffree's attorneys thought that would be the end of it. As I've previously said, this is all in response to Jeffree silencing his alleged victims. So here, I think it's Chris Avery Bennett that has responded to Gage Arthur saying, I understand Jeffree can be intimidating and play a power game, but honestly, his actions will catch up to him, and I would just tell your truth. Gage, Jeffree might have money now, but he is still that same headstrong piece of shit he was back then. He is weak and sloppy. The conversation then continued, and I'm going to assume this is Kat Tenbarge here in the blue saying, you're smarter than you make yourself out to be, Gage. Gage then responds saying, I don't hate anyone. I have like some sort of gay PTSD from Jeffree though. Then in the purple, I assume, as I said before, that this is Chris Avery Bennett saying, my friend has a very similar type of PTSD actually, so I totally get it. Then Gage responds saying, I used to have a lot of tea and gay friends though. They all would do shitty things like give straight guys head and laugh later. And you know, other dumb BS mixed with how the scene culture was, they were all terrible people. From there, the conversation goes on a little bit further. Gage says, after dealing with Jeffree and Chris, my last visit, I was done with them. I can't be around gay people that long, like I can feel it in my nerves or something. So this whole conversation was basically Gage, from what I can gather, retelling his trauma that he's been through with Jeffree Star, retelling the experiences that he's had, allegedly. You know, as I said, this is all alleged. I've only got these screenshots to go on, but this is the conversation that's been had. Chris Avery Bennett, who I mentioned before, also tweeted out, Jeffree Star plans to force Gage to speak publicly. Then following on from that, there are further conversations, further texts between Gage and other people. It looks like this case could well end up in court if you go by these text messages here. Now, from these messages, it looks as though they're talking about the case possibly going to court. It looks as though Gage has received messages from either Jeffree Star Cosmetics or lawyers, somebody saying to him, you have no obligations going forward under the agreement other than to maintain confidentiality and potentially put out a statement. That would be referring back to what Chris Avery Bennett just said, in that Jeffree Star wants to get Gage to speak publicly. So they say if we wanted it, in brackets, but like I said, likely won't, about these allegations that ran, talking about the sexual assault allegations. Then it goes on to say, if the case ended up in court, it wouldn't, in brackets, you wouldn't have further obligations under this agreement. Then this next screenshot here, it just refers to it possibly being a case, possibly going to court. and somebody making a statement, which I assume might be Gage, somebody being under an agreement, which again I assume might be Gage, being that he's the one who's been allegedly silenced, allegedly paid off. So this was a conversation that was had between Gage and somebody else. This is what Gage shared in the previous page I just showed you. Reading this, it looks like Gage has committed to some kind of agreement to stay silent, and he is now being told that he is under agreement. So allegedly can't say anything publicly. It's weird. It's very strange. But don't forget that Gage was allegedly paid off to stay silent. So Gage would have had to possibly sign an agreement or agree to something, agree to some terms when he was allegedly paid off. So that conversation is what I assume that was from. Following on from that, this person here has retweeted Ryland Adams' tweet where he was putting out the link to his podcast with Jeffree Star, that interview that they did the other day. I mean, this person has said it's not looking good. Jeffree's been accused of assault on a minor. Jeffree's been accused of filming it. This would be child pornography, and you're defending his actions. Oh, I feel so bad for him and not the victims. Meaning, you know, they're taking the mickey out of Ryland Adams sticking up for Jeffree Star. Because as we all know, that podcast was a way for Jeffree to kind of have an out in this situation. You know, Ryland Adams trying to sort of make Jeffree Star palatable to the public again. Okay, so just to do a bit of a quick recap on the situation, you've now got two alleged survivors of Jeffree Star that are coming forward with receipts. They're bringing forward receipts via Twitter, going through their experiences, talking about what happened to them. And now this isn't something that we should be shutting down, in my opinion. You know, the intention with me making this video is to try and help the survivors get some kind of justice or get some kind of response for what happened to them, allegedly. What allegedly happened to them. The problem is Jeffree Star is going on Ryland's podcast as if nothing ever happened. He went on that podcast, he played the victim, and he kind of sat there and said, oh, this is mental abuse, whatever. I don't feel sorry for Jeffree Star. I don't feel sorry for Shane Dawson. Think back to 2019 when they played a very big part in doing this to James Charles. They spread those allegations about James Charles being a predator and all the rest of it. Jeffree totally went off at James Charles's brother Ian. He asked Ian, oh, how come you moved back to New York? Via Twitter. He asked him, you know, why is your brother a predator? All of this stuff. He lashed out at James Charles, saying, oh, he's banned from the house. Nathan said James is banned from the house. So Jeffree Star has traumatised James Charles when he had that big scandal last year. But now that it's happening to Jeffree, it's all, oh, let's brush it under the rug and pretend it's not happening. But it is happening. You can't just brush it away, in my opinion. Jeffree, people want to see him take accountability. It's not about cancel culture. It's not about sending hate to anyone. It's just about the survivors who've been done wrong, especially people being told, oh, you know, here's 10 grand and you shut up. It's about the survivors being able to speak. It's about them being able to come forward, not being ashamed or afraid. And I think the more people that talk about this, the more people that pick it up, of course, it's going to get bigger. But right now, nobody is speaking about this. Nobody's talking about it. And yes, I understand why, because it might be very difficult. But these people are trying to be heard, and these people aren't being heard because it's all being glossed over with things like Ryland's podcast. And this isn't something that, as a community, we should just be glossing over. This is something that we should pay attention to, because at the end of the day, if we're talking about Jeffree Star filming somebody allegedly, when they were underage, then yes, that's a crime. So these are things that we really can't ignore, in my opinion. You know, Jeffree Star put James Charles through all that in 2019, along with the help of Tati Westbrook and Shane Dawson. Allegedly. So, now the shoe is on the other foot and Jeffree's in the firing line. It's funny how Jeffree's friends, Shane and Ryland, are trying to, you know, stand by Jeffree. And they're trying to make it seem as though Jeffree didn't do anything. I mean, okay, we don't know for certain if Jeffree did or not. But that article in Insider came out. If it was illegal, if it wasn't factual, then how come that Insider article came out in the first place? Because if it was just a load of lies in that article, then surely it wouldn't have been allowed to have been put out. That's what I'm getting at here. So this article's come out, people have read it, people are aware of the allegations against Jeffree Star. But what people aren't hearing is these survivors speaking and saying, hey, yes, I was paid off. No, I didn't take the money, but here's my experience. People aren't hearing them, and people need to hear them. Of course, James Charles is not the only person that Jeffree Star has also called a predator. He's done it to Dovey Vanity in the past too, back in like 2010. That is a whole other story, and there are loads of great videos on that by people like Repzilla, Creepshow Art, Tamimi, so many great commentary YouTubers who have made videos on the Dovey Vanity case. So I'm not going to talk about that because there are already so many great videos out there about that. But, you know, I'm aware of it. And it's all out there. So if you want to go and check it out, go and check out some of those creators I mentioned, because honestly, they've done a really good job of covering the Dovey Vanity case. So he's also called Dovey Vanity a predator, a child effer. You know, then he did this in 2019 to James Charles. But now all of this is coming out about Jeffree Star. So you wonder, who's the real danger to society? Okay, so I'm going to end this video here. Obviously, if any more comes out, I will continue to update it. This has been quite an impromptu video today because these receipts have only just come out this morning and I've literally put my video together and sat down to film. So, you know, it was quite an impromptu video, so I'm sorry if it seems a little bit messy, but, you know, I wanted to get this out because I talked a little bit about Chris Avery Bennett in my previous video. So I'm just doing a follow-up here. And like I said, I think there's going to be a lot more coming out. I think this whole situation might well get bigger and it might well get a lot messier. I'm not sure, but I would assume that eventually or soon there's going to have to be some kind of response from Jeffree Star himself or Jeffree Star's team. Some kind of comeback to this. Either that or Jeffree Star will just go, disappear from the internet. I don't know. I really, really don't know. But if more comes out, then I will try and keep you updated. So I'm going to say take care, stay safe, stay well, and I'll see you on the next one. Take care, guys. Thanks for watching.